I wonder what that is.
Is that a flimsy excuse for a narrative or the letter you wrote a few weeks ago, Cultist 2?
Weird that you would phrase it that way.
Yes, that's my letter.
What did you write?
Something threatening?
Yes, I wrote, "We make you water the plants."
Come again?
You see, Runic is a very fickle script to write, especially on a blank piece of cloth. So what you actually wrote is, "We'll make you water the plants." So basically it's a threat, Freeman style.
Do Freeman even have plants?
Yes, that's an odd one, but you need a narrative, so let's have at it.
Why would you write such a thing in the first place?
So the video can happen.
So, what is he making this time?
A Crysknife, I imagine.
Like everyone else who saw the thumbnail.
Can we assume for a second that I spend my time managing a cult instead of reading every obscure bit of pop culture?
It's a knife carved from the bone of a dead sandworm.
Wait, isn't Dune that book about social commentary, environmental exploitation and the subversion of the white savior complex?
Yes, among other things.
There's also sand.
But no woodworking.
I don't think so.
So why would
Trees are not about furniture, but do you hear them complain?
I do sometimes.
That does not make any sense.
Welcome to Be Inspired with Dominic.
Why doesn't he stick to the bandsaw? Sanding material away takes so much longer than cutting it.
Sanding is on theme though.
At least he can't declog the sandpaper with an old rubber shoe.
And he can learn.
And remember past experiences.
You mean that rubber shoe also cleaned his brain?
I wouldn't put it past him.
See, that's better.
As if you ever operated a bandsaw in your life.
I trained bandworms once.
Only sandworms are permissible worms in this video.
Sorry.
But there are some spots that neither the bandsaw nor the sander can get to.
And not even a trained sandworm.
Although I would imagine those would be really handy.
Ooh, more sanding. After sand dunes, sandpaper is my favorite way to sand things.
I wonder how he justifies using a buffing wheel in a traditional Freeman craft.
You complain about that, but not about the bandsaw, the sander, or the rotary tool?
Also, have you ever held a piece of wood against a passing sandworm?
No.
Then don't, 'cause they're deadly.
What is he doing?
You mean, wash is he doing?
Huh?
He's using thinned down paint, a so-called wash, to put emphasis on certain spots where the color will remain.
Also staining the wood slightly where it's not sanded too smooth.
Before you ask, this is half linseed oil, half paint thinner. It makes for a good surface finish for wood, especially if you let it soak in a little.
I was not about to ask.
So you knew that already?
Maybe.
Strong maybe or weak maybe?
What? Weak, I guess.
Then we
Just
should...
drop it, okay?
More woodworking.
which we agreed has nothing to do with Dune.
You agreed, we shrugged.
Same difference.
Looks like he's making a box for the knife.
Using tape to hold corners together is a good trick.
As long as the tape cooperates.
Now he's using 3 spots of CA glue to hold the wood glue in place till it dries.
And here I was hoping he would get more frustrated.
I'm sure he will be sooner or later.
And then fix the problem.
Not helping.
Hard to wrap your head around the geometry, but this is an interesting way to add a recess for that hinge.
I find wrapping my head around things is pretty easy in general.
Yes, we know. You're ancient and amorphous. Epoxy.
Yes, not enough wood in that corner for screws.
Another possibility for him to get frustrated wasted. Is that rust solution again?
I think so, although it looks more like a rust problem.
Also, he made that stuff 7 years ago.
That looks like awesome water damage.
There's water in the desert?
I guess you're right.
Come again.
Once is all you're getting.
That's not what I intended. It was supposed to go darker. I think I got it.
Apparently he's going for a redesign.
Looks like it.
Nothing more to say about it?
Not really.
Isn't this where he should tell us to be careful around power tools?
I think people who use common sense already know.
But it is still possible to make mistakes even with common sense.
True.
So it's better to be careful and ready for those mistakes instead of suffering from overconfidence.
It's a tricky subject.
That it is.
That's definitely one way to distress wood.
I guess that wood is screwed.
Nailed it.
Oh.
That was intentional. All movie magic. Pretty cool CG screws, right? Oh, I missed one. Also, pro tip. This is also a cool technique to age cloth.
That's looking like a pain box.
Probably inspired by it.
He put the wood through enough pain with those screws, if you ask me.
That's one way to add some texture to wood.
I thought the screws were one way.
Then that's the second way.
That's a cool idea for a display stand.
Begrudgingly so. That looks almost as if he knows what he's doing.
He does. At least he knows that if you do something with the right amount of reckless abandon, people will assume you know what you're doing.
Also, the dirty secret of prop making. Imperfections make perfect.
So you are saying he is intentionally trying to make it look worse to make it look better?
Exactly. But cultists too. Why is that considered a dirty secret?
Because prop makers like to make things look grimy.
He's sanding cloth now?
I imagine he wants to make it look worn and ragged.
Like I said, nothing like sanding to mimic the effects of sand.
And that's this project done. I kinda like how it worked out, although I'm obliged to say that. But I'm glad I made it on time. Now I have to sand it, and obviously I'm going to sand it via Sandworm. It'll get there eventually. Thanks for watching, and remember to be inspired. Also, that's my treasure trade for this year. Done.